Welcome to Streaming Conscience Podcast. I'm Joel, Podcaster Cox, and this is Joe, Witty Talent Stout.
There was another time we did. We were filming with Jonesy one time, and I think you got the names mixed up. I think you called yourself the wrong name or something. Like you forgot your own name, type of thing. And
I'm not gonna lie, this whole speaking in front of a camera thing is still a little bit new. I remember the first episode we were talking about.
Because you're not a public speaker. You're not comfortable in front of the.
But I've been doing Toastmasters since then, and I've done 6 speeches so far, and I've gotten a lot better. Everyone says I'm doing a lot better talking in front of people.
Well, it's like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
Like my boss knows it. The other people in Toastmasters noticed it. But one thing the president of the club noticed, I tend to list things when I do my speeches.
What do you mean?
So, like, the last speech I did about DIY, repairing stuff, and how creativity seems to only be for artists anymore. So I talk about how, like, I learned a lesson from my dad. My dad had a lot of jobs. He was a bricklayer. Talked about that. He was a contractor. Talked about that. And I'd list things.
Okay.
And I constantly list things whenever I talk about stuff. And I'm trying to figure out how to do a speech without listing things now.
I can't get through a whole sentence. Like, if I start listing something, I go, first of all, and then I say my thing, and then there's never a second of all. I don't think I've ever said the words second of all.
See, I can, if I consciously think about it, I can make sure I do that.
I don't.
But, like, there's that running joke, well, first we do this, B, we do that, and 3, we do that. But, yeah, the whole public speaking thing has been getting a lot better. I had an epiphany at my last speech.
Okay.
So, this speech, most speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. This speech had to be 8 to 10 minutes. You're supposed to convince somebody of something. So I was trying to convince people we needed to do more DIY and more repairs and stuff like that. Because it used to be DIY was a skill you had to have to survive. Now we can just throw things away, was what I was basically saying. And now it's more of a hobby than a skill set for regular life.
Right.
So, as I'm talking about this, whoever was doing the timer, because in Toastmasters you have a little timer.
Okay.
Well, we have an actual person who runs a stopwatch. And then we have a little stoplight light. So it's green for whatever minutes. And then you got your red, and you got your yellow and your red. So I looked up, and I knew my speech at a certain point was 8 minutes. Because I did my speech different this time. I kept rehearsing it over and over again. And I do lap timing. So I could know how long each part was going. Because when it's a 5-minute speech, you can basically run through that and whatever. But the 10-minute speech, I did not want to, like, come short. So, I had the red light. I'm like, there's no way I'm at 9 minutes. I should be at 8 minutes. So, I basically condensed the last part of my speech. And I had some props. I had some stuff I brought in from when I was a kid, things I used to build and do. And I passed some stuff around, and I had some mishaps that didn't go right. When I got my evaluation, they were saying how great the speech was. And I clearly saw 4 things I did that I totally screwed up.
We've had this discussion before.
And then I realized, they don't know when I screw up, unless I bring it up.
Exactly. You never apologize for something they don't know was supposed to be wrong in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
That's you and I were talking about that not too long ago, how you just you power through it, and you don't have to let anyone, when you're communicating something to someone else, whatever you say is what you meant to say. Mm-hmm. Whatever you give them, the information that you throw out there is what is how you plan that out. Nobody knows. It's not like they're following your script and checking you off.
In my mind, I feel like they have my script and like they know what's going on.
Right.
But like I do Dungeons and Dragons and I write campaigns and stuff because nobody wants to be the dungeon master. So I'll sit down and I'll make up these campaigns and stuff. And 50 to 80% of the stuff I do is not scripted. I'll get like a loose idea for the story, and then I feed off what everyone else does. And I've got enough tools and random stuff already set aside that I can make stuff on the fly, and they don't know that it's not part of the plan.
Right.
And I'm starting to have this epiphany of, wow, I can do a lot more stuff and screw up, and nobody will know unless I point it out.
It's liberating. You get this feeling of it's like this weight off your chest. Even like within our show here, like we sometimes have there's things like, and we try not to have anything planned out. We just kind of come in and go, let's maybe talk about whatever. Let's talk about Cheetos or
how the sausage is made. For the audio listeners, I am cranking a makeshift meat grinder.
Are you going to do this every single show now?
Yeah, because we're not audio. So the way the show really works, we'll have a concept idea. We'll talk about that and see where it takes us.
Yeah, we have some general notion of where we're heading.
We don't have like a list of here's what we got to talk about in this episode. We go, hey, we should talk about cars in this episode, and let's see where it goes.
Yeah, we don't. Sometimes it's just one word. It's just like cars, and that's it. And so we talking about. Are we driving them? Are we looking at selling them? Or are we?
And it's funny because like
we actually did have that. That's actually one that we did talk about. Was we just wrote down cars one time. We went on about the movie instead. Because we had some anecdotes. Well, we always have fun anecdotes.
It's funny because I don't know if we've probably talked about this already, but I noticed, like, I thought I had a really boring life. But then, like, I look at all the crazy stuff I've done, and people are like, how are you still alive? You did that? I'm like, well, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Like, my stories aren't always boring.
Yeah, no.
But here's another thing I've noticed. Here's another thing I noticed. So, I went to a happy hour with my coworkers on Friday, and I went out with them. Like, I don't hang out. I talk to these people during work. So, conversation is restricted to, like, light conversation. Because we use a chat program that's at work. And because I'm slightly paranoid, there's certain things I don't talk about on the chat. So if I have something really important or, like, something really weird, I'll text my coworker. And she'll text me back.
Okay.
So that way it's not, like, on record.
Right.
But, like, I noticed, like, Monday nights, friends night, and you've come a couple times, you do tacos.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that some of the stuff I do is very routine, but I know some of the conversations, depending on who goes, becomes the same exact, kind of like a rail. Like, you know in video games, we get those rail shooters where you can't move off the track. Like, you have a certain way you go in the game, and that's it.
Yes.
I've noticed, as of Friday, that sometimes when certain people go to certain events, we have the same conversations over and over again.
It's what you're comfortable already talking about. It's the same thing. Like once you have a common denominator with somebody, it's hard sometimes to expand that to something else. Like we all have that one friend that we go, "Hey, how's work?"
Yeah.
That's the only thing we ever talked about. Or like like I did theater, and there's certain times I run into people that I know, and I'm not even always in a show with them, like just someone who I also know who previously did theater, and like for some reason we can't talk about anything other than theater. Like we meet up and it's kind of becomes this whole, did you see this play? No, I haven't seen a play since I was in one 15 years ago, but like the conversation seems to always lean that way, and then once you're done talking about that, we probably have 30 other things in common, but I can't think of a single thing to say to them because we've just hit that rut where that's all we ever talk about.
Yeah. Well, Friday when I was at my coworkers, like they probably talk about stuff they normally talk about, but like I got to see a different side of my coworkers because they were talking about different stuff, and like I actually brought some stuff up when we were talking about movies because like the one girl, she watches a lot of movies. And spoiler alert, we might do a podcast with her separate from this about movies.
Cool. Oh yeah. We talk about.
But the other girl, she doesn't watch as many movies as the other girl does, but she does a little bit. So like I get to show off how much YouTube I've watched of trailers and how much of a geek I am about movies. And I might not be invited out again, who knows? But my point is, like, the conversations were totally different. And it was kind of like I don't know if you've ever noticed in like some sci-fi, they talk about how you have to randomize the data, or stuff like gets stale, and then you get stuck in like a psychosis.
Nope, no clue what you're talking about, but go ahead anyways.
Well, with a lot of sci-fi, with artificial intelligence, they talk about how like they need to get random data in at all times so that it doesn't get stuck in a rut.
Okay.
Because if you get the same information over and over again, then the same decisions, and then all of a sudden the same thing happens over and over again.
Okay.
But by bringing in new stuff and different ideas, you can actually expand whatever. And I was thinking about that with people, like, sometimes we don't expand our conversations and we just talk about the same thing.
Sometimes you just have to throw out something super crazy and arbitrary, like who
here
has ever had sex with a midget?
Like, I have a one friend who, like, every time we get together, they talk about the same 3 things. And then the conversation gets boring and I end up playing on my phone.
That's the worst whenever you're in that conversation and it's like, whenever, not even just that conversation goes on, but when you have a difference of an opinion, when you have just this, like, where you kind of have this impasse where you're neither one ever going to agree or understand each other, like, you believe full-heartedly this or the other person believes this.
Well, it's not even that. Because there's a lot of times I've noticed my silence is agreement. Like, I've got friends that have totally different political views than I do.
Yeah.
And I won't discuss my political views because I don't do that.
Right.
But, like, I'll sit there and listen to them like, oh, I'm glad you agree with them. I'm thinking, I don't agree with you at all. You are a nut job. The cops are going to come and put you in jail, and you're going to Gitmo probably.
I just don't want to argue with you and your stupidity.
Well, my niece is hilarious because my sister's divorced. She got remarried. But my niece, as my wife says, is almost an exact copy of me. But the way she argues, the way she goes after things.
Oh, that poor little girl.
So, my sister got remarried in the past couple of years, and my niece tolerates her husband. And they have very different political views. And she will fight and fight and fight. And then she gets to the point where it's like, you're stupid. There's no way I'm going to get my point across to you. I'm done talking to you.
Sometimes the best way to finish a conversation is just, you're dumb, and walk away. Like, I have too many of those conversations with people where, like, we just get so heated and we're each other's face, and we know that there's no way we're going to convince each other. Like, I talk about, and I not here as much, but, like, at work and stuff, I'll get into politics with friends and things like that, or religion, and there's no way that you're going to agree with everybody or even have a civil conversation with everyone. And at a certain point, you're just so angry, you don't even want to prove your point. You just want to punch the person in the head. You can't do that because that's socially unacceptable. Yeah. Apparently, you can't just go around punching everybody who doesn't agree with you.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, until this past month, I don't know that I'm actually friends enough that I can talk to that are practicing Catholics. I know a lot of people who were grown up Catholic and they don't longer practice that.
Yeah.
But I have a few coworkers I'm friends with, they're practicing Catholics. So, like, we've been going to the past 4 weeks. We've been trying to get a fish fries. We've made it to 2 out of the 4 weeks because we keep getting screwed around lunch. But, like, I never realized the whole, like, not eating meat on Friday thing was such a big deal. And like, it's weird because, like, we went to another fish fry last Friday. And it was like, I didn't realize I knew so many people that actually were practicing Catholics. A lot of people don't talk about that stuff. But like, I know, like, when Ash Wednesday happened, you see all the people with the stuff on their face. Cause
that's like the true giveaway. Because, like, seeing somebody eat a fish sandwich on a Friday does not immediately, like, I love fish on a Friday because fish is delicious and they make the best fish during Lent on Fridays. It's not a religious thing. Yeah. I'm just like,
well, the one time we went to lunch, it was a Friday, and we were like, the one girl, because I always tease people, like, because a lot of people I'm friends with, but there's a few people at work I can actually, like, be more of myself and not the whole, like, here's my work stuff because I don't want to get fired. So, like, the one girl's like, I'd like to get a sunset sandwich with the bacon. I'm like, we're no longer friends anymore. I don't know you.
I don't care what religious.
No, I didn't. And
eat the bacon.
Well, I didn't realize that was why she did that. So the other woman, she goes, yeah, I love this. Hold the bacon. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? She goes, it's Lent. I'm like, my bad.
What degree of anarchy have you fallen into here?
But like,
but it's bacon.
But I'm like, I understand now, and you know what? I don't care that that's what you believe in. The thing that matters to me the most is whenever you force me to believe what you believe.
Yeah.
Like, I have friends. I have actually a friend that's vegan, a friend's a vegetarian, and they're the only people on this planet. Well, okay, and there's a couple people. I have a handful of friends that are vegetarian/vegan, and they eat their vegan food, their vegetarian food. I eat my pile of dead animal. And we don't say anything about it, and we're still friends.
I want meat, and then on top of that meat, I want more meat, and I want that meat wrapped in bacon.
But I remember the one time I was working with this one guy, and like, this guy's such a jerk. Why is he such a jerk? And I found out he's one of those vegetarians that tells you how you're such a horrible person for wearing a piece of clothing that an animal looked at, and like, it's bad.
Yeah, those people are not my friends.
No.
That's you can have your belief. I don't care what you believe in. And if we're close enough friends, we can even argue about it. And we can argue to the point where we hate each other. Because when that whole argument is over, when the dust settles, then we go, all right, cool, let's go grab a beer. And then we're still friends.
But that's the other thing. There's a lot of people that claim they're open-minded, but when you get in an argument, they feel like they're being attacked.
Yeah.
Like, I got in this argument with a friend of mine once, where, like, they'll say something crappy to me. I'll say something crappy to them back. I'm like, okay, game on. I know the rules. Well, they got this idea that because I said something snarky to them, that I was mad at them, and I was like, I don't want to be their friend. I'm like, you shot the first volley. I just fired back. Like, I don't think you meant this as being mean-spirited. Like, if you did, we got an issue. because I've done nothing to you.
Yeah, if you can dish it out, you need to be able to take it.
And I've got some friends that always want to dish it, but the second I okay, flame on, it's like, no.
Did you just Johnny Storm?
Yes, reference? I did. Because there's a reference, because when you're online, you get an argument. It's called a flame war. So I forget when it started, but my one buddy used to go, "Okay, I'm gonna get in this argument on the internet. Flame on!" So I
flame war sounds like whenever a bar fight breaks out in a gay club. That's what it sounds like to me. That's a flame war. So rat your eyes out, girlfriend.
So yeah, I like learning about things. Like I have the one girl I'm friends with at work. Like we get into these arguments, but it's one of those things of, oh, I see your viewpoint. That's interesting. But she doesn't go well, he's a dick. I'm not talking to him anymore.
Right.
And it's amazing. I've got some friends you claim to rep mine, you claim you want to debate, but the second I'm not on your side,
then all of a sudden it's the tables turn. Mm-hmm. I'm open-minded as long as you agree with me.
Yeah, exactly.
I would try to see things from your perspective, but then we'd both be wrong. Yeah, I hate that because there's a few people, and I won't get into who because he listens to the show. Sometimes he listens to the show, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, we're talking about you, Joe Smith, at some Main Street.
No, I'm not saying who, but there was this whole.
Timmy.
Just quick guessing names. Barb. Even if you guess it right, I'm not gonna.
It's a guy, girl.
I'm not telling you now. I'm just
Barbara.
saying there's a person.
Blair.
I'm not telling the story now.
Tell the story.
No, there's really not much of a story to tell. It's just one of those things where it was this nonsense. Because I'm pretty thick-skinned, and you could say a lot of stuff to me. And if anything, I'm more likely to join in. If you start saying mean, negative things about me, I kind of go along with it. You can say whatever you want, and I'll help feed into it. Because I believe in, I get creative. You can't say the same insult over and over and over again. That's no fun. That's stupid. That's childish.
I have a buddy.
I like fresh, creative things.
I had a buddy. I used to live with him for a couple years, and he had this knack for coming up with these nicknames for people. That was hey, there goes Bobby the Wonder F, and he'd come up with these names. I'm I want to use that, but I can't because he came up with it.
That's the worst one. I get like that too a lot of times because I get movie quote kind of creative. A lot of times, a lot of the stuff that goes through my head, and even on the show, I have to catch myself all the time. As we're recording, you'll say something or I'll say something, and I want to kind of quote a movie because I speak entirely in movie quotes.
I do it all the time. I do it.
It messes you up because you
it doesn't.
Want to. Well, for me it does because I try.
No, I just do it
a little more original.
Because here's the thing: the one podcast I listen to, he has a show. He talks about pretty much anything. But if you know the Easter, it's kind of like finding Easter eggs. He had back problems a couple weeks ago. He's got I gotta get me a bacchiotomy. I'm that's half baked. I was sitting there, I know that. I know what he's talking about.
I understood that reference. Mm-hmm. That's why, actually, speaking of Half Baked, Dave Chappelle is back in comedy again. He's got a show on. He's got a 3-part series.
Yeah, I realized the other night that 3 shows I've been waiting for have finally come out.
What 2 shows?
Okay, Buddy Thunderstruck. It's his animated show. It's kind of like Robot Chicken. The Iron Fist came out, and the Dave Chappelle skits have come out.
Here's my thing is I like Dave Chappelle and I love stand up. I was not a big fan of. Can't say I wasn't a big fan. I never really got into the Chappelle show. Oh. Everybody lost their mind over how wonderful that was.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't for me. I just didn't dig it.
For me, I just dig it because I love, as I said before, I love that awkward, inappropriate humor. Yeah. So racial humor, I love it because my wife and I
watch a lot of. Well, you guys have that also. She's white, you're black, so you guys have that already.
Yeah. So we'll say things in front of people. I'm what's going on here? And I love, for some reason, I feed off of that. I remember one time I was at a cookout, and somebody screamed an N-word, and I was oh, I'm gonna make this guy feel inappropriate. I'm not gonna say his real name, but hey, Billy, did you say a special N-word? I'm not sure I heard you right. Did you say this word? And the guy's oh crap, what's gonna happen? Why is he saying this to me?
Oh, I didn't know you heard that. Well, and it's weird, 'cause especially for me, I say a lot of inappropriate things just in general. We try to tone it down for the show
Yeah.
a lot just because we're trying to keep a certain rating
Yeah.
here. And then whenever I hang out with you, you know more than anybody. I say racial things around you all the time. Like, I'm not racist, but I'm very racial. So I throw a lot of things out there. And I forget sometimes because I'll be out amongst like friends or whatever. I'll be in public or like it's somebody that I'm cool with, but it's more of an acquaintance than it is like a close friend. And sometimes I'll let something slip, especially after you and I have been hanging out for a little while, and like I get comfortable to a point where probably more than I should be, and then I'm hanging around with somebody else, and then I'll say something, and it'll like slip out, and I go, "Oh man, why did I say that?" And I go, "Well, no, it's okay. My best friend's black." Like that's like that justifies. That's how white people get away with saying ignorant stuff, man. We just go, "No, it's cool. I've got a black friend."
For
and
me,
more often than not, they don't even have it. They're like, "Oh, I have a black friend, but really, it's this guy that I work with, and he's Puerto Rican, and that's close to being black."
See, for me, like, I've got different friends, so there's different things I can get away with in front of different people. So, like, I'm always conscious of what mode I can be in, of what I can say. Because, like, my boss at work was like, "We need to listen up at work more." Because, like, we'll say there's some stuff that's said I'm not going to repeat because I don't want to get...
They don't want to get anybody fired.
Yeah. But, like, she's like, "Well, you need to..." I said so-and-so with the so-and-so, and I'm like, "Yeah, so let's get on a scale of 10. That's a 9 or a 10. I usually hit 15 or 20. I'm going to eventually say something the HR's going to come down here.
Right.
So we're not going to do that. I'm just going to be vanilla." Because...
You're just going to be vanilla?
Well, like...
I think that was racist. Is it? I don't know.
No, vanilla isn't, like, plain. I'm not going to, like...
I know what you were going with that one. You know, you should use this excuse next time somebody says something, or next time you say something inappropriate, just look at them and go, "It's okay, I'm gay." I can say that.
I think
that'll really throw them off.
I think one of my favorite things ever was we went somewhere. Because, like, I go to a lot of places, not a lot of black people. And one of my favorite
With
games,
not a lot of black people?
Yeah, no, like, there's not a lot of black people where I go.
Okay.
Like, I'll go to, like, say, some nerdy thing, and, like, I'm the only black guy there.
Right, you
tell me. And 5 or 10 minutes later, I'm like, "You really sure I'm a black person?" I'm like, "Yeah, about the second I walked in the door." So one time, I forget who I was with. They go...
You notice it right away because you are the only black person. It's all the white people that go, "Wait a minute, is he the only black guy?"
Well, then my favorite, the one guy goes, "I feel like a minority here." I'm like, "Really? Tell me what that feels like." And they're just like, "Oops, I should have said that."
That was like, we went out, was it my birthday the one year that we went out to?
Oh, yeah.
We met up, we went at this bar, Jabby Joe's. So we go in, we met up with a bunch of my friends, and we're hanging out, and we're having a few drinks. And then all of a sudden, they're like, "Hey, let's go to," what was it?
Saddle Ridge.
Saddle Ridge. Let's go to
Matrix.
Saddle Ridge. Now, anybody who's listening to the show who doesn't know what Saddle Ridge is, it's a country bar.
It's not
It's not,
working.
okay, it's not there anymore.
Station Square used to have, like, this complex, had, like, 4 different, like, club/bar
They had all the
places.
different, they had Matrix, and there was a few of them down there. Matrix actually closed now, too. But so we get in the car. You drive because I was already drunk.
Yeah.
So we go down.
And I'm responsible.
And we walk into the bar, and it's as we're going in, we get
Saddle Ridge.
into Saddle Ridge. We go into Saddle Ridge, and the country music is playing, and everybody's line dancing. And we walk in, and because I'm sensitive to the subject, because I think about these things, I, in my drunken stupor, look at you and go, "Joel, we're the only 2 black guys in here."
Yeah, I remember that.
And so, all right, so we're in, and obviously, you were the only black guy, but I feel in my heart that I have some degree of that ethnicity in me. So we get in, and we're like kind of like walking around a little bit, and I'm like, "I got to go to the bathroom." You're like, "I got to go to the bathroom too." So we head to the bathroom, and we step in the door, and in the bathroom they have these guys that are like there to spray to put the soap in your hand.
They're there to rob you of
mint and
money.
stuff.
I hate when you go to the bathroom. Because first off, they make you feel bad because A, they're in the bathroom. B, they gotta smell your farts, crap, and all the other stuff. And then they gotta give you mints and stuff. And then they want a tip.
And they want to hand you towels and all that fun stuff.
When I see places like this, I go to the bathroom once because I see them in there. And
Do
then
you
I make it
hold
my
it the whole
business.
time?
I hold it the rest of the time because if I go in there again, I have to tip them. And I'm not tipping somebody to sit there and smell my farts.
Right. And it's weird to like go to the bathroom. You don't want to run out and not wash your hands so that you can avoid tipping. For $1, I'm giving the guy the $1. So we go in and we
I'll almost be drunk here!
I go in, use the bathroom. But here's the thing about those guys. I think there was 2 of them in there. and they're also black. So the only other black people in the whole building are working in the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
And we walk out of the bathroom after we throw them our dollar, and they give us they clean our hands for us, and we walk out, and you're like, that's racist. There's only 2 other black people here, and they're working in the bathroom. They're not even behind the bar. It's not like they're cleaning the tables or anything. They're working in the bathroom. And I'm like, racist be damned. We're getting you a red vest, and we're gonna drink for free. So we did. We hang out in the bar, and then you went to go on the mechanical bull. And there was a girl that was in line in front of you. She gets up and he like rocks her back and forth and spins her around a little bit, and then finally after a while he tosses her off.
Now, I'm all psyched up to like, I want to do this. I'm going to prove the black people can ride a bull.
So you get on. He whips you off like that. Like it's instant. Like he doesn't even kind of give you a little bit of tease. It's not like it goes back and forth. You get on. You're on. He goes, you ready? And you go, yep. And he goes, and you're off. That's it. There's no delay there. So he's like, go ahead, get back on again. And
I'm like, okay. Because I'm like, you look at the guys just to show them I got control of this year, nothing. I'm like, okay, I got this.
And right back on. Uh-huh. He didn't give you a So the third time he goes, why don't you go ahead back on again? And you're like, no, I'm good. I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and suck up the rest of the pride that I have and walk off.
So then we decided, hey, we could do line dancing. So we're standing there watching people line dance, and then we go to jump in. We lasted not even 3 seconds. Like, we're out.
Turns out we cannot do that.
No,
that is
we cannot.
Line dancing is not in our ability range.
Nope.
So, that was a good birthday, though. Otherwise, other than all the guy, the racist whipping you off of the mechanical bull and the awkward moment in the bathroom having to tip guys, it was a good birthday all in all.
Yeah,
we had a good time. So, well, I think we got to wrap this one up after all that enjoyment. So thanks for joining us here, and we'll see you next week with another episode.
Check out our Facebook at facebook.com/Stream of Consciousness Podcast. Check us out on Twitter, Stream of Consciousness Podcast. Check us out on YouTube, Stream of Consciousness Podcast. And check out our website. Guess what it is, everybody? StreamofConsciousPodcast.com.
Survey says, ding, 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 ding.
Deuces!
What is that?
I don't know.
All right. Peace out, everybody. And disco.